Sorry, I just woke up from a Merab fight. Why are there so many boring fighters in the UFC at the moment? Well, we're going to go through that in today's video. And before you go into the comments and say, oh, you should go watch kickboxing, I'm not dissing certain aspects in the art. At least listen to what I've got to say. At least listen to my points. We can have a nice little discussion in the comments below. How about that? These are the points we can go through in this video. What makes a boring fight? Why is this a problem? And what's the solution? Well, what makes a boring fight? First and foremost, we've seen this a lot happen recently. Stalling against the cage. The most prevalent one that we saw was, or the worst one that we saw was against Jose Aldo and Mario Batista. This is the picture on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. This was awful because Mario Batista had no intent of winning the fight, and he called it the Merab method. So if you got a reason to hate Merab, there we go. And he's also on the left-hand screen doing the exact same thing. The problem with this is you're not trying to get a better position on the fence. So fighters like Khabib, like Damian Maia, use the fence. Oh, well, Damian Maia is retired now, but they're both retired. Use the fence to try and get a better position rather than just going ooh against the fence. Using the fence to get a better position, it should be fine. If you're constantly trying to maybe try and work your way around to the back, maybe trying to get their head in a guillotine, maybe using it as a defense, fine. But stalling against the cage like what Merab does and Batista does is not trying to get a better position. It's just, I need to try and stall out this round so I can win the round. Which moves me on to my next point, which is pointing. Pointing is effectively where you, instead of trying to finish your opponent, you try and win the round on points. And you can see we've got 3 grapplers on the screen and Leon Edwards, because Leon Edwards does this in a striking form, and it's a perfect example of this. He does not try and finish fights. He strikes at range. I like Leon Edwards. He's a very good striker. Very crisp, clean striker. One of the best kickboxers in the UFC. He does not do stuff to try and finish fights. Same with Belal. Same with Merab. Same with Evan Weaver's not even finished a single fight in the UFC. Not a single finish at all. And it's not necessarily saying that finishes are so exciting and decisions are boring. The act of trying to get a finish makes a fight exciting. Act of trying to push for a decision makes the fight boring. And Edwards doesn't try to finish fights. Belal doesn't try to finish fights. And Merab doesn't try to finish fights. And neither does Evloev. I completely forgot he's even on the screen. These 4 don't try to finish fights. They just try and win the round so they can win more rounds than the opponent to win the fight, which is a way of doing it, but it makes the fight boring, which is why we call these guys boring. Not because they wrestle, not because, they grapple, not because they mix up the arts, because the way that they do it makes them boring. The way of not going for a finish. We look at the guys who can finish in the UFC. We look at Shavkat. He constantly goes for finishes. It makes him exciting to watch because you don't know what's going to happen next. And it's the same with Bahera. He goes for knockouts. We look at the fight, we go, oh, what could happen? He can knock him out at any moment. It makes people tune in. It makes the fight exciting. This is a major problem because it's terrible for the UFC. If the fights are boring, which most people believe that these fights are boring, they don't pay for pay-per-views. And especially on a global scale. In the UK, the main cards of most pay-per-views that happen in America happen at 11 p.m. through to 5 a.m. Unless it's in Abu Dhabi, even on our own time, they held a pay-per-view in summer at like 6 a.m. Like, in Europe, we all have to stay up late to watch this stuff. And because we like to watch the fights. But if they're boring, people aren't going to stay up till 6 a.m. to watch the fight. The world is much bigger than just America. So that's one problem with it. Another problem is nobody pays to... Sorry about that. I had to go answer the door. Basically, nobody is paying for fights that they don't want to see. So if you're holding a main event of Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards in the UK, and it's happening at 6 a.m. UK time, it's awful for the sport. And this means the UFC lose money, means they can't pay for better fights, means they can't pay fighters more. And it means that they will lose money as a whole and eventually do what Pride did and go bankrupt. What's the solution to this? Well, firstly, can we stop telling people to go watch kickboxing if they don't like these fighters? Because, you find Merab very interesting. It's not the fact that the grappling aspect is not interesting. We like grapplers. We like Charles Oliveira. I say we. I like... blink neck. Khamzat Chimaev has got an interesting style. It's exciting because he just goes, wow, smash everyone, you know? Khabib has had an interesting style when he was still fighting. It's because he would break people down, he would grapple them, and he would demolish them. Interesting style. Khamzat Chimaev, insane, intense, high-level grappling. Tries to go for a finish. Charles Oliveira tries to go for a finish. That's what makes these guys exciting. These guys just go, they would rather win rounds than fight. It's awful. Right, like, and it makes the fight boring. So, what solution? Firstly, we need to stop. We need to stop having people hold each other against the cage, standing them up if they're there for more than 10 seconds, haven't tried doing anything, because they're trying to have a rest. They're trying to be in a safe spot when there's in a fight. You're in a fight and trying to have a safe spot to have a little breather. Oh, I like just like, no, we need to stand them up. We need to go, okay, right, you've been here for 10 seconds and you've just held him there. You need to at least be trying to advance to a back position, trying to take him down, do something. You're not doing anything, up you get, go again. And this happened in the Batista fight. He got stood about 3 times and shot straight back in. It's stupid. You should at least give him some sort of dominant position. In terms of striking, there's not really much we can do in terms of this pointing issue of boring strikes, other than pay him less money and deny him of title fights. Maybe get the referee to say, clap and go, hurry up. There's not really much we can do with the striking aspect of it, because it's not like the ground game and just say, stand up, But am I wrong? Have I completely, missed the mark? Have I hit the nail on the head, or should I go watch kickboxing? Let me know in the comments. This is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of this, because I personally think I'm correct, but am I wrong? Should I go watch kickboxing? Let me know.